Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? D546. As always, no intro for this post-game reaction. I actually left mid-game, went to go golfing, but I did get to see that whole first half, and I got mixed emotions. I got mixed emotions about that first half. I saw some things I liked. I saw some things I didn't really like. Let's address the elephant in the room. Right now, there's a bunch of memes. Everybody's kind of going crazy, saying, Daniel Jones is back at it again, doing his same old thing. I don't think Daniel Jones is a turnover prone quarterback. I think most of his career he hasn't been turnover prone. I think the turnovers he does make are ridiculous, though. I think when he does make turnovers, they're like horrendous turnovers. He went, his entire career until last year without throwing a pick six, and he threw one last year regular season, and he threw one this preseason, which doesn't count. But that first interception, completely inexcusable. He should have thrown the ball away first off before the pressure even got where it got to it, where he was like kind of fading away throwing the ball. He should have thrown that ball away first. I got into a little Twitter. So people are always really, really intelligent on Twitter. I mean, you got everybody on Twitter is a GM. They've got like 5-6 years experience drafting, scouting, evaluating talent. And every time, people react to something, they anyway, before I go down a rabbit hole, Daniel Jones pump fake to Malik Nabers, who was double covered, by the way. And when I say double covered, he had a guy trailing him and a guy over the top. So he probably gets hit maybe someone makes a spectacular, amazing play and intercepts the ball if it's underthrown. If it's underthrown, yeah, that's getting intercepted. But if it's thrown in the right spot, I think Malik Nabers is going to be able to make a play on that ball at the very least. Fine, don't throw it there. But he pump fake there, and then he throws it in the flat to a guy that's literally plastered in coverage. I mean, Theo Johnson is literally covered as much as you can possibly be covered. And he throws it basically directly to the defender. There may have been something going on where he couldn't see the defender, but either way, that's no excuse. You got to be aware of what's going on the field. And an easy pick six, the easiest pick six that dude is ever going to have in his life. I mean, just easy stuff. Second interception, Jalen Hyatt beat Derek Stingley. Shout out to Derek Stingley, a dog. Beat Derek Stingley down the field. Hyatt is behind him. And Daniel Jones puts the ball inside. He like bullet passes it. And I'm using Madden terminology, but you guys get what I'm saying. He throws a straight line kind of throw inside as if his receiver is in front. And when I say in front, I mean if DJ is looking, the receiver would be in before he would see the receiver before he would see the cornerback. So he threw it as if Hyatt was going to be able to just simply turn around and catch it, but he basically threw it directly to Derek Stingley. He basically threw it directly to the corner, threw it inside and short, and on a line drive pretty much instead of over the top. It didn't even have to. Dable and Jones said, "Oh, he should have put it outside." Yes, if you want to miss that, you do need to miss it outside. But also, he could have just put it directly over top of Hyatt. Put it directly over there. Let him catch it. Touchdown. We cannot afford that this year. We've got to hit those plays where Hyatt is over the top. About 6 or 7 touchdowns last year Hyatt didn't get because either Daniel Jones or DeVito or Tyrod Taylor could not hit him in stride over the top. It's ridiculous that we have a guy that's getting open this often behind the defense, and he is a non-factor on this team. Jalen Hyatt literally serves. He gives nothing to this team because no one ever is able to hit this guy in stride. It's always underthrown. It's always underthrown or overthrown, and we have got to start hitting those in the game. I mean, we have to. He started to shake off a little of the rust. You want to say rust? I mean, these are all things that I've seen before, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's just rust. He did hit Slayton down the left sideline, but again, the ball is underthrown. If the ball is further out, Slayton can just catch it and walk in the end zone. But nonetheless, Slayton is able to adjust and catch it. Good throw, not the optimal throw that would have allowed him to score, but a good throw nonetheless. I'm not gonna, I said what I said, but at the end of the day, I can't penalize him for that because it was a big play and it led to a score. So he hit Slayton over the top. And Malik Nabers, he clearly has the chemistry with Nabers. A really nice catch by Malik Nabers on the sideline where he kind of spun and caught that and high pointed it, got both feet in bounds. Another throw where Nabers was on the left sideline where Daniel Jones threw a nice throw there. He had a nice throw across the middle to Wan'Dale Robinson. I think Malik ended up having what, 4 catches for 54 yards or 3 catches for 54 yards, something like that. Have it right in front of me. Let's see here. Malik Nabers had 4 catches for 54 yards, 6 targets. By the way, Daniel Jones threw a beautiful catch. He threw He threw a beautiful pass down the right sideline on like the second or third play of the game to Malik Nabers, and Malik Nabers just pretty much just dropped it. He couldn't come down with it. He high pointed it, but he just couldn't come down with it. And also, Derek Stingley is pulling his left arm down, so he couldn't come down with it. But that is not at all Daniel Jones' fault. That should have been a chunk play if Malik had been able to come down with it, and if he wasn't being interfered with. He had a like a 12-yard run. He looked confident doing that. I really believe him. I don't think he has any issues as far as being in his head about that injury. I just don't see it coming across in his mind. I just don't see it. So I believe him. I thought he was kind of just, saying whatever he had to say, but he seemed like he was comfortable out there. Let's see. I covered the interceptions. I covered the deep balls. He's got to be more consistent there. But it seems like he is kind of carving out a nice place, a nice comfortable. It seems like he's getting comfortable throwing these back shoulders. He threw one to Hyatt. Hyatt couldn't get his feet down, but seems like he's comfortable throwing those. So if that's our way to get some chunk plays, some 25, 30-yard plays, I'd enjoy that too. And I think that about covers Daniel Jones and the receivers. As far as the first team offense, the offensive line, they give up a couple pressures, especially against the second unit. For some reason, they didn't give much anything up against the first unit, but against the second unit, for some reason, they gave up a couple pressures. Yeah, that was really strange. I don't understand why they were able to block Will Anderson and Hunter, but when the backups got in there, all of a sudden they were kind of giving up some pressure. But run blocking, when there was not a tight end that was supposed to be pulling or blocking as the lead blocker or anything, they looked good. They ran the ball well when it was just on the offensive line. They got pushed in the short yardage. They got pushed, and that was just good to see because we have had an offensive line that could not run the ball to save their lives. And now it just makes you think, if Saquon Barkley had this line, the way that this looks, who knows what he would have been doing. But right now, we got Devin Singletary, and he looked good. He made a couple of nice moves. Eric Gray made a couple of nice moves. We didn't get Tyrone Tracy today. The other guys that play running back, which is partially why I didn't stay to watch that whole game, they're not making the roster. It's not happening. They're just not going to make the roster. But the top two guys, Eric Gray, Devin Singletary, they look good. Theo Johnson looked good at times, run blocking, but for the most part, he wasn't good. Bellinger had a nice block. But again, like I said, the Titans kind of let me down in the run game from what I saw today for the most part. And looking at the defense, Deontay Banks slipped and gave up, I think it was Nico Collins, gave up like a 20-something yard play to Nico Collins because he slipped in coverage. That can't happen. That can't happen. He can't be getting beat by the team's like second receiver. He can't. That can't happen. Even though Nico Collins is probably a number one on a lot of teams, still, we cannot have We can't have Deontay Banks being a weak link at all, or that defense is going to be horrible because he's our number one guy. We need him to be an above average corner. The pass rush. They had now CJ Stroud, I wouldn't say was under a ton of pressure, but CJ Stroud is like an amazing quarterback, amazing at manipulating the pocket. And I would say the pressure was pretty much there almost instantaneously, like 1-2, and the pressure was kind of there. But CJ Stroud was getting rid of the ball so quick and like stepping in all the right places that it didn't really matter. But against some of these quarterbacks that aren't elite at maneuvering the pocket, that pressure is definitely going to start to come through. Dex was getting doubled and tripled, and Burns and Thibodeau were just eating those one-on-ones. Elijah Chapman was looking really good. He was out there from the beginning of the game all the way, parts of the second half. He's going to make the roster, and he could possibly be your starter next to Dexter Lawrence. And he's looking good at that 3-tech. I mean, he's an undrafted free agent. Pretty sure this is his first year, and he looks great. So keep it going. Keep it going with Elijah Chapman. But like I said, I saw like the first half and part of the third quarter. And those are my biggest takeaways. I'm going to be dropping some film sessions, starting off with Malik Nabers, maybe some guys on the defensive side too, most likely. Maybe Deontay Banks, maybe Burns and Thibodeau, something like that. And see you guys when that happens. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your last couple of Sundays. You got one coming up tomorrow before the New York Giants are playing, and they may be ruining all of your Sundays. But I'm not giving up on this offense yet. I'm not going to say that we're going to be the same horrible offense until we get at least 3-4 weeks in the season. But you guys let me know what you thought of the first time you saw Daniel Jones in that starting offense out there this 2024 season.